Next on the WendyLyfe Show, Wendy talks to Arnetta Bosby, mother of an autistic son.
You know how a child goes to school, if they turn 5 in September, they can't go to kindergarten until
the
next year.
School year, yeah.
And if you turn 18 in November, you still get to finish school in June.
Right.
Well, his birthday is January 9th, and he turned 22, and he was out of school on that same day. And that was
surprising.
Yet another down for me. It was a down.
So now, how did you find out that your son was autistic? What was that process?
Well, I had a son before him who was 2. He was talking, he was saying words. And then when Jamal was a little bit before 2, he was saying mom, but then he stopped talking at all, saying any words. And my husband said that he believed something was wrong with him. And I didn't want to believe it because all children are different. He'll talk when he's ready. But right when he was turning 2, I did realize he was nonverbal. So we set up the appointment for him to have a diagnosis or testing or however it goes. But I continued to take him to the park and take him out and do things with him. And this one particular day, I took him to the park, and this lady had her son, he was about 11 or 12, sitting in a baby swing. And she was pushing him. And he had the mannerisms that we know today as flapping. He was doing that. I had never seen that before. So I walked up to her, and I didn't want to offend her, but I said, do you mind if I ask what's wrong with him? And she said, oh, no problem. He's autistic. And and I'm asking, what it was about. And she said, yeah, he's at the most severest form. He had a diaper on. You could see it through his pants. And so another week goes by, and I take him to the park, and I see this man and he walks up to me and says, oh, so your son's autistic?
Wow.
And I said, well, I don't know. I am taking him for testing. So he started to talk to me about how his daughter is autistic, and he calls her over, but she followed his prompt. And then she said a few words, and I'm like, she's autistic. I just met a young man last week, and he was not talking. He was wearing a diaper. So I see now that there were different levels.
Yeah.
When I went back to the park a week later, because I take them like every day in the summer, I went back, and this woman walked up to me, and she told me he was autistic. And then I said, yes, I'm starting to learn that. And he's going for his diagnosis soon. And she says, I'm autistic, and I used to be very severe, and then I came out. So what I realized in that moment, number one, God was preparing me. He's autistic. I get it. But number 2, it doesn't have to stay the same. That's what I saw 20 years ago. So when I took him to the doctor, he had the testing done, and they came back with the diagnosis of autism. My reaction was, okay.
Because you were prepared, right?
I was already ready. And although my husband was the one that said, something's wrong here, I don't know, he was the one that kind of, they couldn't accept it, because they're boys, they wanted to play basketball, they wanted to do these things. He couldn't take it, but I was ready.
Wow.
So for the next 22 years or so, there were some ups and downs. Now, God prepared me, but there were ups and downs. Days I didn't know what was wrong with him, crying. And then my husband realized, oh, his toenails are really long. So it just minute
that's
things.
Simple. Wow.
And he cut them, and then he stopped with the flapping. So now I realize his part of communication is something's wrong when I'm doing this. So we try to go through it just like we would a baby, trying to find out everything. Let's change him. Let's feed him. Let's pat him. Let's burp him. Okay, now why is he crying? And then you panic. So we had no panic anymore when he would flap. We would just try to find out what the problem was.
Wow. Yeah. So now I'm sorry, I just have to keep you. So you have 5 boys,
5 sons. Yeah, he's second
now,
oldest.
with him right currently in the family now, how are the other boys with him, and how are they different because they have this kind of brother?
For a long time, Trevon, who was 25, when he was 4 or 5 and Jamal was 3 or 4, they seemed like 2 only children. So he had his life. He was nonverbal, no contact, no eye contact. And this one was making friends, having fun and doing, so they were totally separate. And I was like, it's like we have two children that are the only children. But we taught him to love and not be ashamed of his brother. So when we had our third son, which was very hard for me because I knew before I was expecting him that I just didn't want anymore because I had one special need. So when I was pregnant with him, I like cried all the time. And then I prayed, you know, God, please don't give me another one, you know. But we love all of our children. He ended up being the light in the, you know, in the family. So, and then came Maurice, and then came Kendall. So God, they all love him. They all include him in everything. Like when we go to church, he used to, you know, be upset because he had to sit and be quiet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even get through a service. And now he's the best kid I have when we go to church.
Wow.
So the rest of them just run around everywhere else and get lost. So going to the movies, I had to step out a lot with him because he would cry in the dark. Now when we go to the movies, he's like, pass me the popcorn. I know we're going to be here for a couple hours. When we go to the restaurant, it was cry, cry, cry. Then it was eat and then cry. So we had to leave. And then it was eat and then cry. And then we could fellowship. So now it's get to the restaurant and he knows we're going to be here. While I go to the bathroom, come on back, sit down, let's fellowship. So it was a learning process, but it's a blessing now. It's a blessing.
So how is I know you have the 5 boys and God bless you for that. How is his diagnosis and everything? You said he's 24. How has that made you a different person?
Well, the one thing I thought it made me was patient. I think what it actually did was just increase my patience. God knows when he created me, I'm very patient. I can withstand a lot with a smile on my face. I think one of the covers we have is comedy. I think I'm rather funny.
You are. So, we talked a little bit before. I'm like, okay, she's funny.
And we changed because when he was younger, I had to do more. I was more involved and hands-on when it comes to his autism. But when he's older and he kind of wants his own space, we know how he is. He jumps off that school bus. He comes in and he puts pajamas on right away. And I'm like, no, I want to go to choir rehearsal. Let's go to choir rehearsal. But he'd look at me like, yeah, go ahead. I got it. So
you had a long day.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it changed us in that we were closer as a family, close knit. We have family night, a movie. You can eat whatever you want in this one night.
Oh, they love that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So in the special needs community, the stats for the divorce rate is huge. And I'm divorced. You and your husband are together. I always get excited when I hear that. What do you guys do to keep that closeness? Because your marriage is important. What do you do to have that together time, to keep the fire burning, just to keep that closeness and have 5 boys and have a special needs boy?
I think sometimes a special needs child will do one or the other. Obviously, we're sitting at the table.
Right, exactly.
Obviously, it will either cause separation or bring people closer together. And we ended up coming closer together, but we also recognize our differences. I'm the patient one. I'm okay with this and we're going to make it. And he's the one like, come on, let's go chop chop. And so we balance each other out. And it's so funny that I would say that because for that first 20 years, I took care of Jamal, made sure that he needed to, that he received all of the medical treatment that he needed, going to school, making sure he was shopped for. And now that he's 24, my husband has taken over. So I just like won't even move. It's like, oh, you got to get Jamal. We got to get him some exercise. We got to get him here. We got to get him there. And I'm like, this is awesome. I mean, it was 20 years, but
that's okay. That's
your
awesome.
turn.
Wow. So with him being 24 and I have a 15-year-old, no, he's not 15. I'm trying to age him. He's 14. Take your time. Take your time. So from that process, you've gone from infancy to toddler to middle school, high school, and transition out. Yeah. How is that process?
Okay. So like I said before, in the beginning, it was hard for me. I mean, I was prepared by God and I did have patience, but there were ups and downs. To me, it seemed like more downs than ups. And then it smoothed itself out and we coasted along. But then when he turned 22, That moment no one really tells you about, when school is over. And you know how a child goes to school, if they turn 5 in September, they can't go to kindergarten until
the
next year.
School year, yeah.
And if you turn 18 in November, you still get to finish school in June.
Right.
Well, his birthday is January 9th, and he turned 22, and he was out of school on that same day. And that was
surprising.
Yet another down for me. It was a down. But
when you say down, what do you mean?
With the ups and downs, sometimes everything was going good. Some things were well enough where you didn't really notice it. And then the downs are, the crying and the outbursts in the grocery store. You don't know what's going on. Just downs that are not horrible downs, but things that if you know it was your child who was what they call mainstream or normal, he wouldn't act like this. What is the problem? Those were downs for me. Can't go to the show, can't go here. But we worked through all of that. And so now here I am.
A family though.
Yes.
Which is huge.
And now here we are at another down. What are we going to do with him? I have to work. You have to work. They're in school. Who's going to sit with him? So my husband, right at that moment, learned that his schedule was changing. So he was home in the day.
Look at that.
And he was with him. But still, I was at work on the computer center, disabled, Chicago, Illinois.
You were doing the research.
And I came across a book, and it's literally called The Book by Robert Farley. So I pulled it up and I started to read it. And I think the subtitle was How to Navigate Through the Illinois with Disabilities.
Wow.
So I read that book, and it's very short, very small, pointed book. And it says you can print it. So I sent it over and printed it out, put a cover on it, and I read it, that little book. And I followed all of his instructions on how to expedite his puns, how to expedite getting any monies from the government, subsidies that could help him. And it seemed like all in that whirlwind, all of those things were coming to. I was being laid off from my job, and I'm saying, oh my gosh, I can't afford Cornerstone Workshop or the things that we put our children in now that they are adults. And, but right when I was receiving that news, that would be my last day at this job, I was receiving this news that he's been accepted for his puns.
Wow.
So even in my ups and downs, they kind of flow together. So you don't really notice those
God worked
downs.
it out.
Yes,
just when you thought like, uh-oh.
Yes.
He's like, I got you.
And my girlfriend, who we've been friends for 20 years, her son also is autistic, and he's about 30. She told me, she tried to prepare me, workshops are not like school. What do you mean, Deborah? She says, in school, he's the oldest, but he's mild and meek and everyone loves him. And you go up to the school and you talk to the teachers and everything's great. In workshop, he's going to be the youngest, and it's just going to be different. And sure enough, I walked into that Cornerstone Workshop and I cried. I'm like, I don't want him to be here, because he's the youngest. You don't realize until you get there that he's going to be an older special needs adult. And that's what I saw, 40s, 50s.
Wow.
And I'm like, and it was just hard for me. But now he loves it there. He thrives. It's part of his schedule. We never take it away from him. Even when Christmas is rolling around, he still goes. Get the Pace bus to pick him up. That's another thing they don't tell you when your special needs child is aging. They don't say, be prepared. School buses don't run for you anymore. You're going to have to do Pace.
Okay, I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. Wow.
We don't provide lunch anymore. You have to have him bring lunch every single day. So that was just another.
So how was that transition? Because I can just imagine me. He's going from the school bus. You're like, it's a school bus. Yeah. It's fine. To a Pace bus.
And I had to get on that bus with him every day for about 2 weeks to make sure he put the monies into the machine. And then they went up 1/4 and it threw everything off.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, we're just going to keep paying $3. We don't know about the quarter. We don't want the quarter.
The quarter's fine.
But they finally helped me through it, get a little baggie and put the $3.25 in the bag. So I'm like, okay, great.
Support to help you with
Yes.
There's so
Mhm.
much to learn.
And once you know someone in special needs that love your children, that are great at what they do, you don't want to lose them. And
Right.
we've lost like 3 people that we really, really
That's
love.
really hard. I've had that
Retired
too. I'm
or
like, what do you mean you're
yeah,
retiring?
you can't. We'll
You
be
can
at
go
your
to
house
74.
at 8 in the morning.
We'll be right. I've said that to many people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Jesus. Okay. So now the other boys. So is everyone grown now?
No, I have a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old. My 18-year-old just graduated high school, Darian. And Trevon is the oldest. He's 25. So he's degreed and he works in Indiana. So,
Okay.
with my little granddaughter. That's my only little girl.
We got a girl.
Yes.
Yes.
And by granddaughter, I mean that's my daughter. You know,
Yeah.
just being clear.
Just,
Okay.
you can't have her back.
Yeah.
So now I heard you have a hobby
Yes.
that has helped you through all these years.
Yes,
The coupon.
Yes, I love the coupon. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I first started to coupon, my husband had taken a job with Chicago Tribune, the newspaper. So whenever he would collect the papers to be dumped, I'd say, bring me some coupons. I'll teach myself how to do this.
Wow.
You know, so I got the coupons. And keep in mind, Caress had been out for about 10 years. I started to buy it and then it got too expensive. So I moved to generic, and generic has been working strong. But when I saw the coupons that he brought in and I saw Caress, $2 off one bottle, I'm like, hey, what is it? Like $5? I can get one for $3.
Yeah.
This is great. So I noticed that I had about 18 books though, meaning I had 18 Caress coupons.
Whoa.
And so I went to Target like, well, I'm going to use these and just, get a few. And when I got to Target, I realized that they were on sale for $2.88. I was like, oh, they're 88 cents. This is awesome. I'm going to get like 10.
Yeah.
And then I looked down and the
They had a
sign
limit.
said, if you buy 3, we'll give you a $5 gift card. It clicked in my mind already. So I swooped in the 20, whatever coupons I had, went up to the front. I bought 3 first. She gave me a gift card. I said, can I use this? And she's like, no, you have to use it in your next purchase. So after those 3 with the coupons and whatever tax, it was like $2.60 or something like that. I paid $2.60. When I did the next 3, I used the gift card she had previously given me. So long story short, by the time I walked out, I had at least 22 bottles of Caress and I had only paid $2.60. The original $2.60.
I'm done.
Yep.
I want to hear more. I got to take notes.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about this. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back.
Alrighty.
We'll be right back.
My parents always told me I could be anything I wanted to be. Just be it with my whole heart, work hard, and God will open doors for me. Things wouldn't come easy, but if I live with purpose, passion, and persistence, God would provide. I am the woman of my dreams, and it wasn't an easy journey to get to her. I am more than who I label myself to be because God is still revealing my destiny. I am Chantal Ashante Hill, the spiritual ballerina.
New episodes every second and fourth Friday on the Road to Eternity channel.
Are you ready for a joy infusion? I'm Dr. Felicity Joy, and my new talk show, The Felicity Joy Show, is just that. I talk to people that are living their dreams and those that are struggling to do the same. So whether you have a dream or you say, I don't even know what my dream is, I have an inspiration guarantee on my talk show, The Felicity Joy Show. Watch it on the Road to Eternity Network, on YouTube every first and third Friday for new episodes.
Like you, my family is always looking for great movies and TV shows to enjoy together. So you can only imagine how excited I was when we decided to create our very own media ministry, Road to Eternity. We believe in creating entertainment that edifies the soul by developing stories that incorporate faith and hope in people's lives. So whether you're watching a movie or even a television show, we desire to bring you closer to Jesus Christ by releasing entertainment that your family and friends can enjoy. From our family to yours, we thank you for joining us as we take you on this new and exciting journey.
So we're back with Arnetta, and we're talking about these kids, these phenomenal kids, and Jamal being special needs. How do you get through? You said the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs. What has gotten you through all these years?
Well, I tried to do the support groups, which eventually I did find a few. But for me, since I couldn't find them in the beginning, it was my faith. Again, because God led me and prepared me to know that my son was going to be autistic, then who better to lean on than him?
Yeah, I
agree. It's my faith.
And then taking the boys
and taking them to church like
yes.
3 or 4 days a week. So
Wow.
It was Sunday school, Bible class, choir rehearsal. I put them in everything. So
okay, so you're at choir rehearsal.
Yeah.
Who sings?
I don't know who that.
I think I know who, because I heard in the green room a little bit. I think you sing. So do you sing?
Yes, I do. I sing in the choir. I sing for the Lord.
Okay. So I was wondering if you would bless us with something inspirational.
Okay.
Just whatever comes to mind. If you would just sing a little bit for us. Please, please.
Since we were talking about my faith.
Yes.
Faith to reach the unreachable. Faith to fight the unbeatable. Faith to remove the unmovable. Faith that can conquer anything.
Thank you so much again for coming, Arnetta. It was a pleasure having you here. And thank you for
Pleasure to be here.
sharing that beautiful song.